Hello. Thanks for logging in again to those of you who are my regulars, and welcome to any of you who are new viewers. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris Halstead, Managing Director of Sales with Brown Harris Stevens, Connecticut. And over the course of the next few minutes, I'm going to provide a quick snapshot on what happened in the Lower Fairfield County real estate market in the month of April. For a change of scenery, today I'm coming to you from one of Brown Harris Stevens' fabulous new listings. Located in backcountry Greenwich at 3 Gaston Farm Road, this newly and immaculately renovated home is a true showstopper. On for $4,375,000 and listed with Cora Lynch out of our Greenwich office, it's an absolute must-see. Make sure to reach out to Cora, whose information can be found here, to schedule your showing, and don't wait too long. All right. To flip the script a little, I'm going to try and focus on some of the positives we've realized last month. The theme of these last few months' market reports have revolved around our market's strangled inventory and resulting low sales volume. And while inventory is still historically low, there are some positives to extract from the data. So let's touch on inventory. Year-over-year inventory in the month of April was down 8% from the same time last year. But, and here's the bright spot, the 8% is a 6-point improvement from the 14% decline we saw in the month of March. And most notably, April actually saw an increase in the number of new listings compared to last year. Now, with a slight buoy in inventory, we saw a corresponding bump in the number of houses pending. Across the 12 towns we cover, we clocked in 511 pendings throughout the course of April. That's a 4% increase over the same figure in 2023 and marks the first month this year with a year-over-year increase. Now, keeping on the positive bandwagon, and in addition to an increase in the number of pending sales, we also saw a year-over-year increase in the number of closed home sales in the month of April. The 290 houses sold represented a 6% increase from last year's figure. And those closings list to sale price ratio raised to 103.3%, which is up, again, 1.2 percentage points from April last year, with 57% of those houses selling over the asking price. Now, this astounding figure has remained over 100% for well over a year now, and anecdotally, based on the number of offers a majority of listings received shortly after they come on market, shows no sign of slowing in the foreseeable future. Now, interestingly, we actually saw a decrease in the average sale price of houses in April, down to $1,600,000, which is a 5% decrease from last year. This is primarily the result of a big jump in the number of closings under $1 million. But to keep up with the positive thread I've been sowing so far, even with a 5% decrease in the average sale price last month, the average closing price for the first 4 months of the year is still up 7 points. I love sharing all of these increases, but unfortunately, increases aren't always good. As I like to do each month, let's briefly touch on mortgages. As I mentioned in March, due to a hotter than expected inflation number, the Fed made the decision to keep their rates steady, with no indication of lowering until later this year, potentially seeing our first decrease in or around the fourth quarter. So, what does this mean for mortgage rates? Well, unfortunately, they didn't respond positively. And after a few months of either steady or even decreasing rates, mortgages actually went up. At the end of the month, mortgages were holding north of 7%. That feeds in well to the new segment of the market report I've been doing, where I field a question from the audience. And thank you all for submitting them this past month. And please remember, let's keep them coming. This month's question is a broad one. Here it is. When do we expect this low inventory market to break and for numbers to return to a more stable, historically consistent level? Well, to be totally honest, I don't have a crystal ball, so unfortunately I can't tell you specifically. But I do have a couple things I want you to consider. First, homes are bought and sold on a needs base. Growing families, shrinking families, job relocation, etc. In my opinion, people have been putting off moves because at the moment it doesn't make financial sense to entertain one. I'll circle back on that in a bit. But because people are holding off on moving, it means that an increasing number of people are living in houses that are suboptimal for them. Now, there's a finite amount of time that people can keep this up. And eventually, need outweighs financially based decisions. We're nearly 2 years into this historically low inventory market, which means people have been living in less than ideal circumstances for a while. I think we are quickly approaching that break point, and in the not too distant future, people who have been holding out will have to take action. All right, as for the financing piece, as we talked about previously, the average mortgage in this country sits at about 3.8%. There's no doubt about it. Trading into a current 7% mortgage is unpalatable. Your purchasing power is essentially cut in half. But again, in my opinion, if rates can come down to somewhere with a 5 handle, that swap is a little easier to stomach. So let's all keep an eye on the Fed's upcoming decisions and keep our fingers crossed for near-term rate cuts. All right, that does it for me this month. Remember to click through to the new Mastery of Connecticut webpage for a more thorough market overview, town guides, a home valuation tool, and a spot to submit any questions you may have. Thanks again, and I'll see you next month. So long.